Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome. My name is Patricia Lovett, and on behalf of the Heritage Crafts Association, it gives me enormous pleasure, and I feel that it is a great privilege to be introducing this Heritage Crafts Awards Zoom event. Now, I just need to do some housekeeping before we start. I think that you're all complying, but just to avoid background noise, and I'm hoping that our two dogs don't sense a rabbit outside and start barking, which you'll all hear because my microphone will be on. If you could all mute, unless you're going to be one of the speakers, obvs. We're also live streaming and recording, so if you don't want to be seen, please turn your camera off. Now we're going from screen to screen, so if you kindly ensure that you switch from gallery to speaker view. Now, Daniel, I'm just going to ask you, how do we do that? Is it at the top?
Yeah, so if you're on a computer, it's at the top, or if you're on a mobile device, it should be in the More menu.
Okay, so there we go. If you could do that, and that avoids any delay in changing screens. And we've also got the chat function on, so please do use that to congratulate the finalists and the winners if you wish. Now, here in the UK, we've some of the best makers in the world, and for far too long, they've been unrecognised. They've been the Cinderellas of the craft world, waiting valiantly for their fairy godmother to arrive, but never actually going to the ball. Well, the Heritage Crafts Association has been working really hard to ensure that our world-class makers do get national recognition. And so far, 19 superb makers have received a national honour. No other craft organisation has done this. Not one. And for the last 8 years, the Heritage Crafts Association has been working hard to ensure that makers are recognised, honoured, and actually rewarded, not in a huge way, but are rewarded, as you'll see this evening. At our annual conferences this afternoon, the afternoon session starts with a celebration of excellence, where we do just that, celebrate the excellence of makers. This year, though, it was going to be different. The chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Crafts, Sir John Hayes, who's with us this evening, very kindly suggested that we hold the presentation of awards event at the Houses of Parliament. Swain Aidney Brigg, a company who certainly know a thing or two about excellence in craft, and indeed the significance of craft to our heritage, very kindly agreed to sponsor the event. The room was booked. We knew what we were going to eat. We were working on the guest lists. And then, do you know what happened? As with so many other events, COVID-19 put paid to all our plans. So here we are on Zoom, but we're hoping we can make it a bit of fun and a celebratory event. We are rolling out to all our finalists, guests and VIPs a metaphorical red carpet, just like in the Oscars. There it goes. And I'm in my posh jacket and grown-up jewellery, and I have a glass of something fizzy in my hand, and I'm going to say it's ginger ale. It's not, but I've got something here to toast the winners. Now, whatever your chosen tipple is, I do hope that before we get onto the reveal for each of our Heritage Crafts Awards winners and the very, very first President's Award for Endangered Craft, that you have whatever is your chosen tipple in your hand to toast the winners. And now I'm going to ask Sir John Hayes, CBE, to say a few words. You'll already be aware that John is chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Craft, a group that was set up on the advice of the Heritage Crafts Association and covers all crafts: building, conservation, preservation and contemporary, as well as heritage, which, as we all know, is the most important. However, before that, he was one of the most inspirational ministers for business and skills. It was under John's instigation that the Department for Business, Innovation and Skills Craft Advisory Board was set up. He also arranged for the research Mapping Heritage Crafts, which, if you don't know, revealed that heritage crafts had a turnover of 10.8 billion, that isn't a mispronunciation, billion pounds a year in England alone, 4.4 GVA, contribution to the economy, 4.4 billion pounds. If you haven't read it, it's on the HCA website. And the first, and sadly the only, Craft Skills Awards, which were presented by the Prince of Wales. When he moved on to greater things, one of the major organisations who had dealings with John said, he just gets it. And this is what we thought too. John is a great friend and supporter of craft, and I hand over to him now.
Thank you so much, Patricia, for those very kind and warm words. And it's a great honour and privilege to be able to say these few words of introduction to endorse much of what you've said about the significance of heritage crafts and these awards in particular. The awards, as you know, were begun in 2012, endorsed by His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, and over the years there have been 43 winners, supported by the Art Society, £150,000 in awards and bursaries, and they mark the celebration, the acknowledgement of the wonder of creativity and craft, and what we do with our hands and our minds and how they combine to add grace and beauty to all of our lives is something special, wonderful, and deservedly something that we should celebrate. Thus the
What's happened?
I think he's muted himself.
John, I think you might have muted. Sorry, John, can you just...
How's that? Am I back?
Yes, you're back now.
Well,
sorry.
So I got to the bit where I was talking about the all-party group, I think.
Just before that, it was the beauty of craft.
Okay, so the beauty of craft brings life and light to lives, not only from the perspective of the people who make and do, but from the perspective of all of us who enjoy the products of their imagination, the fruit of their labor. And that's why I'm so excited about the Heritage Crafts Association, the awards, and the work we can do together through the all-party group. I'm determined to champion craft here in Parliament. It's an easy job due to the hard work of Patricia and the Heritage Crafts Association. We've been working together now since I was the Minister, and I'm delighted that that work continues through the work that we do here in the all-party group. But I'm particularly pleased to be part of tonight because we've got a special award for the first time, the President's Award. This is initiated by the Heritage Crafts Association and supported by its president, His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales. The first time it's been awarded. I'm giving nothing away because, rather like the Oscars, as you said, Patricia, to do so would be entirely inappropriate. We have to keep these things in a sealed envelope to the exciting moment when the winner is revealed. But it is wonderful and something to be very proud of that we've got that special President's Award for the first time here tonight. So in anticipation of that award and all the others, can I congratulate all those whose endeavour is going to be recognised tonight through these awards. Once again, thank and praise the Heritage Crafts Association for the extraordinary work they do in continuing in the battle to highlight the achievements of all the people involved in craft generally, but heritage craft in particular. And thank all of you for taking the time to listen to me and for being part of tonight's event. Thank you very much indeed.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, John. We really do appreciate your support and all that you do to champion crafts, particularly in the Houses of Parliament and the House of Commons. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, and so almost on to the awards. Now, we know that there can only be one winner, but, and this is an important but, remember what I said at the beginning about the fact that we have some of the best makers in the world. If you've got to be a Heritage Crafts Award finalist, then you are here with the absolute elite. Being a Heritage Crafts Awards finalist is something that is significant, important, and makes you different from the rest. It's something that you should include on your website and in social media, and something to shout about from the rooftops. We regard it as so important that we list all finalists on the Heritage Crafts Association website, and we're making plans to set up an alumni group. And I offer you here my heartiest congratulations in getting to this stage. And at this point, I do want to say that we're so grateful to the Marsh Christian Trust for kindly sponsoring 4 awards this year. They've been supportive of these awards since they started, and we really appreciate this. Nick Carter, who's actually presented the awards in person since 2014 and is a trustee of the Marsh Christian Trust, will now say a few words. Thank you, Nick.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. I'm Nick Carter, and I'm a trustee of the Marsh Christian Trust. And I've been really proud to be able to present these awards for the past 6 years. This is the 6th, I think. Oh. The HCA is such a remarkable organisation and does wonderful things to protect our heritage and encourage the continuation of crafts in the UK. The Marsh Christian Trust has, for the past 30 years, provided recognition to individuals across the charity sector who work modestly to improve the world we live in by selflessly contributing their time and energy to causes that they believe in. We have worked with the HCA since 2013 to highlight the achievements of those practicing heritage crafts and promoting the importance of this fundamental part of our heritage. This year, we are pleased to be able to introduce an award for a trainer in heritage crafts to celebrate those who are committed to these important skills. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Nick. And so we start. The finalists are going to be introduced in alphabetical order. So don't try to work out who's won just by the sequence in which I read out the names. And we're going to begin with the Heritage Crafts Trainer of 2020. It's so important for the future of crafts to have the skills passed on. And so we start with our first finalist, Achilles Korisanjian. I just hope I've spelt that correctly. He works at Capel Manor College as an inspired teacher of cordwaining, which is shoemaking, a craft that he has been practicing for, wait for it, 57 years. As his nominator writes, Ash, but I'm going to call him Achilles because you can't have such a wonderful name as Achilles and shorten it to Ash, teaches students how to design and produce a variety of shoe types, including footwear design, pattern cutting, leather cutting, upper making, lasting, making and attaching soles. There's been very little training of shoemakers in the UK since the Cordwainers College closed in 1999. So the work that Achilles is doing is particularly crucial. Our second finalist is Jim Patterson of Two Rivers Paper. Paper making runs through Jim's veins, and he's been responsible for establishing and maintaining making paper by hand near Watchet in Somerset. Jim not only passes on his skills, but has also financially funded himself much of the training of Zoe Collis, and you can see here Zoe, his apprentice, with Jim, and Sarah Ward, who is the bookbinder and administrative assistant at Two Rivers Paper. Jim is also actively assisting an NGO in Vanuatu to produce handmade paper using waste products from chocolate manufacturing. I do have to say that there's not a lot of waste products from chocolate in our house, but I suppose it's the manufacturing process. And our third finalist is Nigel Turton. It took Nigel 18 months to find someone so he could actually get thatching training. And whilst he was taking other jobs, he made some of the tools that he needed as a thatcher. And then he spent 5 years learning the trade. Nigel has one apprentice at the moment, but also mentors 5 others, and that involves regular site visits. He talks about thatching to local and regional groups and is one of the judges for the Best Thatched House competition run by the National Society of Master Thatchers every 2 years. He's currently president of the National Society of Master Thatchers, having been the chair. He was also president of the International Thatching Society for 4 years. Now can you see why all of our finalists should be pleased to be finalists? Look what company you're in. And so the winner of the Heritage Crafts Trainer for 2020 is, now, we have been trying to get a drum roll, and our drum roll sounds a little bit like creasing paper. So Daniel's going to play the drum roll, and what I'm going to ask you to do is make a drum roll sound, whoop, cheer, when I open the envelope and say, and the winner is Achilles Corisangian, Cordwainer. Many, many congratulations, Achilles. Nick, would you like to say a few words?
Yes, congratulations, Achilles. His nominator said students come with no knowledge of shoemaking, and during the one-year course, Ash trains them in all aspects of traditional shoemaking, during which they design and make 4 or 5, I hope, pairs of leather shoes and a pair of boots.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Nick. So for all of our Heritage Crafts Awards, I'll be posting your check and congratulations to you tomorrow. So I hope that you won't have too long before you can spend that wonderful £1,000 on perhaps something for yourself, but maybe something for your craft as well. So we're now on to the Heritage Crafts Trainee, and this is the new award that has been kindly sponsored by the Marsh Christian Trust. Again, learning craft skills is crucial if the craft skills are to continue. And first up is Manuel Aragon Jimeno. Manuel has loved music since very young and has played the guitar since he was 10. He worked as a civil engineer for 10 years before he sensibly saw the light and began studying violin making in the Bilbao Conservatory. But he did so much more than just that when he was there. This led him to the famous Newark School of Instrument Making in 2016. Whilst there, he focused on guitar making, and he went on to their degree course. His final project was on restoring a 19th century guitar, and it involved a huge amount of research and a high degree of skill. Next up, we have Sam Cooper and Richard Platt. They are both ladder-backed, rush-seated chair makers. They started learning the craft with Lawrence Neal, who can trace the chair-making skills all the way back to before the arts and crafts movement of the 19th century. Both were interested in woodworking, while Richard worked as a fitter after his degree, and Sam as a logistics manager and a scuba diver, amongst other things. But their training was hands-on from the start, learning from Lawrence and also documenting the skills and techniques that were all just in Lawrence's head. They're now based at Marchmont House in the Borders in Scotland, having set up the first chair-making workshop since 1958. And I can see on my screen Hugo Berg there, and we have a great deal to thank Hugo for in supporting heritage crafts. They continue the skills and techniques passed down through 5 generations. Our last finalist is Yasmin Saint-Pierre, and I hope I pronounced your name correctly too, Yasmin. Yasmin started her apprenticeship age 16 and took every opportunity to learn about the different processes of cutting, shaping, faceting, and polishing stones, and then assembling the pieces. She undertook a Goldsmiths Company apprenticeship and, training with Roger Duncan, has completed a wide range of lapidary tasks, which include completing work for customers. Yasmin exudes enthusiasm in all of her work and training and has won prizes for it as well. Her nominator said that Yasmin is a brilliant ambassador for the Goldsmith Centre, for lapidary and for the craft at large. And the winner of the Heritage Crafts trainee, make some noise please everybody. I'm opening the envelope. I can see hands clapping. I hope there are whoops. Sam Cooper and Richard Platt, well done to you. Nick, would you like to say something?
Yes, well done, Sam and Richard. Congratulations. Your nominator said they have committed to not only making chairs, but training the next generation to fly the flag beyond them. They will not only continue the tradition, bringing it into the modern world with digital marketing, and to keep the craft alive, relevant, interesting, and inspiring. Well done.
Thank you, Nick, and well done to our winners so far. Now we're on to volunteers. Oh, I haven't, I am bereft of sipping and toasting. Well done. Volunteers are especially important in heritage crafts. They run craft guilds and membership organisations, teach, support learners, run craft fairs, do things that seem perhaps even a bit menial, like make the tea and coffee and get the sandwiches, but terribly important. And I can say that in terms of our board meetings, that is important. And they demonstrate, and so much more. It was one of the first requests that we made to Marsh when we were asking for funding. We wanted to recognise trainers and we wanted to recognise volunteers because they are so important in craft. And our first nominee for the Heritage Crafts Volunteer Award 2020 is Anne Day. Anne has been regularly volunteering for the Lace Guild for over 34 years. And in that time, it's been estimated that she's given in excess of 3,000 hours. I actually bet it's more. She devoted many hours to assessment to keep the standards up, has written articles, served on committees, was the lead in a film about lace making, has been working with the V&A Museum to identify their historical lace, and she identifies lace that people bring to her. She also teaches, gives talks about lace, organises exhibitions, and much, much more. Next up is John Savings. John taught the Heritage Crafts Association's president, the Prince of Wales, how to lay hedges. But you don't have to be royal to be taught by John. If you show an interest, he will do everything he can to support where hedge laying is concerned. He tours the country with a trailer he designed and made himself, with examples of bonsai hedges. I'm not quite sure on that whether this is the trailer, but it looks a bit like it. And this is always the star of the hedge laying stand. He made the whole exhibition himself with miniature gates and styles. I'd love to see it. His nominator said he seems to be never stuck for an answer to even the most difficult questions and will help in any way he can, being a real gentleman and a pleasure to be with. And lastly, in this category, we had the Young Quilters fundraising team. We're so pleased to have a number of quilters from the Quilters Guild here this evening, including their president, Sherry Warren. The Young Quilters team raises money to support the development of the Quilters Guild work with young quilters aged from 5 to 18. This includes workshops, stitching events, competitions and challenges. And at their Festival of Quilts, they also ran a 4-day program of drop-in workshops. The amount of time that has been devoted to this, and they did itemize the time, but I'm sorry, it was beyond me as I'm numerically challenged, but it looked huge. The motto of one of the Quilters Guild volunteers is spread the word, share the pleasure, and surely that is what we are all about. And the winner for the Heritage Crafts volunteer is, make some noise people, get your glasses ready. John Savings. Well done, John. I can see you have, is it your daughter there, clapping you along. And Nick, would you like to just say a few words for us?
Yes, congratulations, John. Your nominator said, John Savings is the best. He puts all his effort into whatever he does, hedge laying, gardening, beekeeping, cooking, and even dancing. He excels at talking about and promoting and encouraging others to take part in traditional skills, especially hedge laying. Well done, John.
Thank you so much, Nick, and congratulations. So we're now on to our last Heritage Crafts Award, but of course we've still got the President's Award for Endangered Craft to come. So we're into the Made in Britain Award, where makers are using mainly UK produced materials and carry on the craft in the UK, often against all the odds. John, could you kindly make yourself mute? John, are you mute? Thank you. I think we were hearing your celebrations. So the finalist, the first finalist for the Made in Britain Award is Jacqueline Cullen. She's one of the few people making jet jewellery, and this certainly is a made in Britain craft, focused as it is on Whitby. Jet, as you probably know, is carbonised wood and over 180 million years old. And as you can see from this, working with it is very messy and dirty. Jacqueline has produced jewellery for some very eminent places, such as Bergdorf Goodman in New York, Net-a-Porter, or is it Net-a-Porter? I never know. And her jewellery has also been seen in Harry Potter films, Harper's Bazaar, and the Financial Times. Her jewellery was also worn by Naomi Campbell, the model in Vogue. Jacqueline is pushing boundaries in design, carving jet, 3D printing into wax, setting it with diamonds and much more. There isn't an example of her jewellery here, but she did it with her submission and it looked fabulous. I was very envious. So our second finalist, it was being inspired by trunks by Louis Vuitton and Francois Goyard that led to the Method Studio, our second finalist up in Scotland, to take a new look at travel trunks, chests, boxes and cases. And I'm so envious of the work they do. It looks exquisite. This involves highly skilled cabinet making, leatherworking and woodworking, producing heirlooms of tomorrow. Method Studio is niche, self-funded, and they've built a team who each have a specialism and are brought in when required. Although they've looked at expanding, they prefer to focus on excellence and creating pieces that they are passionate about and will last for life. And lastly, in this category, Two Rivers Paper. We've already met Jim Patterson. As we already know, Two Rivers Paper produce handmade watercolour paper used by artists and designers. They're the only business making traditional handmade quality rag paper in the UK and one of only a handful in Europe. It's a small company, but one with great ambition, as Two Rivers will be moving to a new site very soon and succession plans are in place. Ready? Get your hands there. for the winner of the Made in Britain Award. Make some noise, get those glasses ready to chink. It is Two Rivers Paper. Well done, Jim. Nick, oh, you have your glass. Nick, would you like to add to this?
Yes, congratulations, Jim, and Two Rivers Paper. Two Rivers Paper is now the only maker of traditional handmade artist quality rag paper in the UK, and one of only a handful of makers in Europe. Sales of Two Rivers Paper have grown by 50% for the third consecutive year with a very small team. 30% of their output is exported to everywhere from Uruguay to Singapore. Well done. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Nick. And can I add many congratulations to all our finalists, all of you. You really are at the very top and you should be pleased to have come this far. And special congratulations to our Heritage Crafts Awards winners. Very well done. As I say, your checks will be in the post, and I mean that. Can I also at this point thank our wonderful judges for presenting such an eminent shortlist of finalists. They do this without remuneration and often without recognition. So Robin Wood, Daniel Carpenter and Chrissy Freeth, thank you. Now, one of our most supportive patrons is Kaif Facet, MBE. Surely the best and certainly the most colourful and inventive knitwear and textile designer in the world, and an expert knitter and quilter as well, a great craftsman. And can I make a shout out for Brandon Mabley too, who's no mean craftsman himself. And designer. We are so grateful to Kaif for joining us this evening. I would now like to ask him to say a few words. Over to you, Kaif.
Right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. That was fascinating, and hearing about those wonderful crafts that people are doing. What I feel is that not only do we know that it's a beautiful thing to make handmade objects to enhance our lives, but it also is very life enhancing and health giving to the makers, as I know as a maker myself, that it keeps me sane when there's a lot in the world that is working to make me crazy. So I just would like to say that. And then of course, your organization, the Heritage Organization, heralds it and gives us that recognition that is really lovely. When I think of the food program on the radio, which you know celebrates all those wonderful cafes and food makers across England, and you're doing the same for us who work with our hands making objects. So thank you very much.
How wonderful. And what a privilege it is to have you speaking at our event, Kaif. Thank you so much indeed. Thank you. And while I'm thanking, can I pass on our deep appreciation to Daniel Carpenter and Mary Lewis for preparing the shortlist for the President's Award, which is what we're now coming on to. And I almost feel that this needs a separate drum roll in itself, a little sort of separate congratulations for this. So this is the inaugural President's Award for Endangered Craft. There is no more prestigious award in the whole of the arts and crafts as this, especially as actually it was suggested by our president, the Prince of Wales, not by us. And I'm going to digress slightly because I was at that meeting when the Prince of Wales suggested this. We were talking about craft and the importance of craft and endangered craft. And then he just sort of threw out into the meeting, well, Patricia, what I think we need is he did say Prince of Wales Award for craft, but we made it into the President's Award. And I shouldn't say this, but I'm just sharing it with you. We're hoping that when he gets elevated, as it were, that it can still be the President's Award and we won't lose it, as he won't be Prince of Wales anymore. Shouldn't say that, but you know, keep it to yourselves. Oh, this is being live streamed. Why am I saying this? Anyway, when he said this, I had to really fight to be an adult and keep on my seat, because what I really wanted to do was to jump up and down and shout yippee, but I represented the association as the chair should. This President's Award is such an important award for Endangered Crafts and will really put the finalists, as you are finalists in this award, and the winner on the map. And importantly, it's not a one-off. This will go on year after year. And we're so grateful to His Royal Highness, both for initiating it and for funding it too. Now, Simon Sedinsky is the director of the Prince's Foundation and has been most supportive of this award. And I'd like to publicly thank him and acknowledge all that he has done to smooth the way and to make this happen in such a short space of time. These things usually take years to get through all the hoops. This was suggested by His Royal Highness last June 2019. And at this point, I should now like to thank our amazing President's Award judges. Simon was himself a judge, of course. And so was Kate Hobhouse, who's chair of Fortnum and Masons in London, a company that certainly appreciates good craft and use it, not least for their iconic hampers. Most of you will know Patrick Grant from the Great British Sewing Bee. He spent most of the pandemic ensuring that his factory made top quality scrubs, and he zoomed in from the north when we were doing the judging. And lastly, Mark Hedges, who's editor-in-chief of Country Life, the wonderful weekly magazine that has been really supportive of the Heritage Crafts Association and crafts. And I'm not thanking myself, but I'm saying that I was there as judge representing the Heritage Crafts Association, and there as a maker myself, because as many of you will know, I am a professional scribe and an illuminator. Now, you'll remember our plans for a great celebration in the Houses of Parliament. There, our finalists would have been presented with a specially designed and engraved medallion. Our winner should have been winging their way to Dumfries House in Scotland, where they would have been presented with a unique and specially designed, amazing bronze award of the Prince of Wales feathers. I've seen the designs, they're fantastic. And these are to keep, by the way, you don't have to give them back. Sadly, none of these events could happen, but we do plan for the medallions and the award to be presented when we can get together next year. Now, I'm sure that you're all aware that the commissioning of a top-rate designer to design the medallion and the award, and the production in bronze followed by personal engraving, is not cheap and is well beyond the purse of the Heritage Crafts Association. So I would like especially to thank our Vice President, Richard Hefford-Hobbs, for not only continually supporting the association and Heritage Crafts as he does, but also for commissioning the designer and covering the costs of production of the medallions and the award. We really do appreciate this, Richard. Thank you. So at this point, I was due to ask Simon Sedinsky, director of the Prince's Foundation, to say a few words. But meetings at Dumfries House today and traffic on the way back home have meant that he's not able to be at his computer, and I've just received this. So this is what he has asked me to say on his behalf. I'm sorry that I'm not able to join you this evening. It was a pleasure to be part of the award process this year. A range of remarkable submissions from hugely talented craftspeople. It was so heartening not only to see the level of skill, but also the emphasis given to training the next generation, which is absolutely vital. And now we are on to the finalists. This is all in capital letters if I was writing it, of our very, very first President's Award for Endangered Craft. Our president, of course, being His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales. So the first finalist is Ernest Wright Scissors. There are only 2 scissor making companies in the UK, as well as an independent maker. So when Ernest Wright went into liquidation a couple of years ago, things looked pretty dire for scissor making. Fortunately, Paul Jacobs and Jan Bart Fanoy saw the potential and have managed to rescue the company, which was founded in 1902. Amazingly, they've been able to retain the highly skilled craftsmen, and I think you can see the two here, as well as including Cliff Denton and Eric Stones, both in their 70s, who are master putter-togetherers. Yes, it is a thing. They also now have 4 trainees learning the skills. They want to use the award funding to repair a grinding machine so that the trainees can spend time practicing their skills. And we're delighted that both Paul and Jan have joined us this evening from Holland, and Jonathan Reed, who I don't know him, but I think he must be the chap in the green jumper, who we're told is their leading man in Sheffield, is here from the UK as well. And I can see Jonathan there. I can't tell whether it's the same one because I haven't got my glasses. I'm being too proud to wear my glasses this evening. Our next finalist is Helen Johannesson. She's an industrial potter with skills that include mold making, modeling, slip casting, sledging, yeah, a thing, and turning, and so on. These skills were widely used in Stoke-on-Trent and the potteries, but are now in steep decline. Helen is also an award-winning ceramicist, and part of her awards meant that she spent 3 months in China looking at the way in which they did things there and teaching them as well, and was also awarded a fellowship at Morley College with an exhibition planned for next year. Hope that happens, Helen. She's an inspiring teacher at further, higher and secondary levels. Helen will use the award money to write a book on endangered pottery skills and hiring a photographer to illustrate it. And our last finalist, you won't know anything about this person at all, or this company, is Two Rivers Paper. Yes, it's rather an evening where there being a finalist is concerned. Make the most of this, Two Rivers and Jim. You'll be already aware of the work being done in Somerset and that handmade paper making is a highly endangered craft. Only one company. Jim has supported Zoe Collis through her apprenticeship, and you can see the back of Zoe there, such that she's now a journeyman. And the small company is planning to move away from Pitt Mill, which is also Jim's home, to nearby Watchet, which is a tourist hotspot. There, they can sell direct to the public. Jim plans to use the award to commission a steel paper-making vat with a pump and a mixer. And if you've been whooping and cheering before, you now need to raise the roof, because this is the winner of the inaugural President's Award for Endangered Craft, initiated by the Prince of Wales himself. The envelope is being opened. I'm turning now the card round, and it is Ernest Wright Scissors. The judges felt, oh, I will toast you as well. I'll sip. The judges felt that the saving of the company and the training of new employees to ensure a future deserved this new award, and the Prince of Wales himself selected the actual winner. And Simon, not able to be here, asked me to pass on this to you. The Prince has also asked me to send you all his best wishes, and of course, congratulations to the finalists and Ernest Wright Scissors, the winner. So well done, Helen and Two Rivers Paper, for being our very first finalists in this really special award, and particular congratulations to Ernest Wright Scissors. We shall be in touch in due course about the presentation of your medallions and the award, and also the £3,000 that is coming your way. It's so lovely. I didn't go to present a view. I've got all your faces there, and it's so lovely to see so many happy faces. And I can see Paul and Jan actually filling up their glasses. Send some my way, Paul and Jan. I've only got this much left. Well, what an evening. Zoom meetings are not always the best, but we do hope that you've enjoyed celebrating the excellence of our wonderful world-class makers in the UK. We really do have incredibly highly skilled craftspeople who are doing a wonderful job despite all, especially with the challenges of COVID-19, whether it's passing on the skills, learning them, volunteering, or carrying on crafts in Britain when things get tough. And wow, our first winner of the President's Award for Endangered Crafts. Let's shout that out. We had our first Zoom AGM for the Heritage Crafts this year, and I got my words mixed. I meant to say either tremendous or immense, and I ended up with tremense. And I think that all our finalists and winners 2020 are tremense. And I think that this word should be in the dictionary soon. You are all tremense. Now, we shall be tweeting and using social media about our winners and finalists. If that's what you do, please do as well. Please, let's pass on the word and let's celebrate our wonderful, rich heritage of traditional crafts. So, thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate the support that you give. And just to emphasize that, if you're not a member and you want to join, this is what we do. We are here as the Heritage Crafts Association to support the things that you're interested in. If you're a nominee, a nominator, you might not actually be interested in the craft, but you nominated someone. If you're a finalist, a judge, this is what we do. This is just one aspect of what we do. And we celebrate heritage crafts. There are the details on the screen. Now, don't forget to add an extra toast to all our winners so that you finish that bottle and have a lovely rest of evening. Thank you so much for joining us and good evening to you all. I raise a glass to you.
Cheers.
Cheers.